I was one of 3 freshmen to make his first team Lee High School. You might have talent, get a scholarship. Stick around. I'll do my best to help you. So he and Leon, basically, Leon take me out to his mother's farm off 118th Street near Ringhaver Park. Have me cut that yard with a push mower. It's 5 acres. And first time he pulled that lawnmower out, I said, "You want me to cut this yard with that?" He says, "And you want to eat, and you want your pads to be bought, and you want to." So this is the type of help that I got from folks like that. A guy named Bill Carter here on this side of town. Carter's Pharmacies here in Ortega, used to be right down on Park and King. He's helped a lot of young guys, and his wife Helen. I'm one of them. I'm probably the biggest beneficiary. I live with the Carters. My part of my junior year, my senior year in high school, my freshman year in college. They helped me mightily in a significant way, and I saw a lot of folks that they helped out along the way besides myself. But again, Bill would make me work for it. Told me I need to turn this off. Bill told me I needed to stop working at Brewmasters out at night and going to Lee and wrestling, running track, and playing football, so that I'd be able to continue to do that instead of cutting through Brooklyn and Mixontown and some of these places that have been replaced by our new bridge system. And that's what I do at times. I get a ride home most of the time, but sometimes have to walk it, sometimes thumb it, sometimes slept in Riverside Park because I was too tired to make it. Well, these folks helped me out of a circumstance like that at age 15. And I'm suggesting to you that coming from that, and my house at 2680, burned down by vandals, after I moved out, but it was burned down literally, lock, stock, and barrel. Lost a family member, one's been shot. Difficult set of circumstances early on. But I'm telling you that this system, through the education system, through a place like this, I used to seek refuge in Willow Branch Library. Basically not a whole lot of guidance as a kid. Sometimes after practice, I come in this library, I go down to Burger King, right there at Forbes and King. It's been there since the 70s. I can assure you. I've eaten many nights consistently for months at a time, getting a Whopper for less than $1 after cutting grass and stuff like that. And I'm telling you that going from there to here, there's nobody else in this race that's done that. There's nobody else that has a grasp on what ails this country. And again, my viewpoint's from top down. Like I said, we're at a $14.3 trillion debt level created in 2 years. You look at Greece, you look at Portugal, you look at Spain, you look at Ireland. We're at 93% of our GDP right now. That's what happened to Greece just before they defaulted on their sovereign debt. Portugal, Spain, not far behind. We are in a process where several cities in the United States are on the brink right now. And it's because I think our forefathers had the best of intentions when they set up our benefit system for the private sector, and we see the problems at GM and Chrysler. The government bailed them out, and now GM's owned 25% by the United Auto Workers. Who would have thought that any time in our country's history? That is stunning to me. You've got those folks now dictating how things are done, and I question if GM will last for the duration as a result of that. But I'm telling you that if we continue to go down the road on the public side, where, again, our forefathers after World War II, I think, set up a benefit system to pay employees well, set up some type of safety where they're more safe than they are in the private sector, they ended up creating a time bomb by virtue of the benefit structure we've set up. If we don't change that, every major city in America, LA's furloughing people 1 day a week. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, again, is on the brink of the state did not bail them out. I could go around the country and tell you the cities. And then we've got a judicial system here that makes, I can tell you a story where I had to break in over my rental across town, where I ended up having to subdue the illegal alien that broke in my building, tried to cut me with my own drinking glass. Had to literally knock him out in a fight. Police came and arrested him, and our state's attorney, not Angela Corey, but her predecessor, tried to release him. 2 weeks later, calls my office, said, "Mr. HYERS, said, we are going to, this is Curtis call to let you know we're releasing Mr. Garcia." I said, "No, you're not." He said, "What? Excuse me?" I said, "My taxes are paying your salary and your boss is to protect me, the taxpayer, not the criminal." I said, "He's ready to come down, burn the building down, and kill me." I said, "He won't get me, I've got a Glock now." I said, "But if he damages the building, do I come see you and your boss?" He doesn't answer me. I said, tell your boss, if y'all cut him loose, I'll find out about it. And I said, I promise you, I'll go down to Times Union, sit down with the editor, and I'll explain to them what you guys are doing. The police will back me up because they told me you'd be calling me with this stuff. He's still not answering me, amazingly enough. I said, we're on the same page, so I'm going to have to call you back. I sent a signed receipt letter down to their office elaborating on the 7 laws the guy broke, in addition to the fact the police told me he was a legal alien. A week later, I get a letter back from the state's attorney says, we are prosecuting. But it took all that to get the law enforced. So I'm saying the experiences that I've had and the opportunity that I've had are absolutely unique. And I'm telling you in no uncertain terms, I'm the only one in the race that actually runs the commercial business with public clients, even though 2 of my competitors, one claiming to have run one, ran a union. And I have that in absolute factual terms. The other one has inherited $17 million of real estate, and I hope this is being caught on the camera because it is a fact, and I've confronted this candidate. $17 million of real estate from her deceased husband, and gets $9 million in rent checks, and is claiming to be a business owner as I am, when in actuality they're getting $9 million worth of rent checks. So the actual mechanics of what it takes to run a business, the stress of it, to start one from scratch and build it, there's only one candidate in the race that's done that. And it's right out in front of folks. And I believe that's why I've got a solid chance here. The neighbors have seen me do it. And the neighbors know me by virtue of the fact I've built this business and 95% of my clientele, I practice in 12 states outside of Florida, but 95% of my clientele are within 5 miles of my office. And if this race was won with 3,600 votes, and I've got 1,000 clients within 5 miles of my office, I'm a third there. So money in November didn't win it. And there's a chance it won't win it this time. So that's where I think I'm different.
Yeah.
All right, assuming that concerned taxpayers of Duval County were to officially endorse you, what actions, if any, would you take to inform the electorate of this fact?
Say that again, ask that again.
If we were to endorse you, if
Right.
we endorse anybody, and let's say we endorse you, what would you do to advertise the endorsement or
Publicize it.
publicize it or?
Well, I tell you what, the endorsements in my race were lined up well before the race even started by virtue of influence, money, and position. And it stunned me. One of my competitors forewarned me. He said, Steve, he said, don't even go down to the FOP, don't even go down to the Chamber of Commerce, don't even go down those organizations, because all you're going to do is justify the fraud. And I said, well, I think I need to give them a shot, as well as myself. But I got to tell you, after going down there, he was absolutely correct. It was decided before I even walked in that room at every one of those major entities. And it took me aback the extent of it. And I'll tell you, the Associated Industries classic example. I interviewed with approximately 5 people. 2 of the 5 were on one of my opponents, wealthy opponents, campaign staff before I even walked in the door. And they knew it. I confronted it with them after the fact. Termination was already made. Down to the Chamber of Commerce. The new president of Jacksonville in the Chamber of Commerce is one of the closest friends with one of my wealthy opponents. And I learned after the fact, when I get the letter that says I did not get the endorsement, and I can tell you the committee that I talked to, that I told a similar story to what I've told y'all, but in more detail, with absolute facts. I felt confident. Again, the argument I made to them is, I think I'm emblematic of what y'all are after. Someone that this town has produced, that's developed their own business, a $20 million franchise with 1,000 clients in their own neighborhood. This is I hope what we're trying to teach folks the opportunity is. And I felt confident that committee felt that. But when I got the letter of decline and saw that signature on it, he was absolutely correct. I was validating the fraud, in my opinion, with those groups. To answer your question, I will promote it along with the most important endorsement, regardless of those groups, in my opinion, which are the small business owners in my neighborhood. You drive around my neighborhood, I have 50 commercial signs up. Now look where my signs are. They are individually owned small businesses lots, okay? Every one of them, every one of them. And these people are my clients, and of course people that support me, some not clients, but they support me. You go south of San Marcos Square, which one of my opponents lives in the big Swisher complex, the wall complex up there that Swisher folks built. You go south of there and just drive through the neighborhood on San Jose Boulevard, down by the JCA, down San Clair, back up St. Augustine Road and go through the neighborhoods. Those are the most important endorsements that I'll get. And I know there's been recent city council races won the same way that I think I've got a chance to win it. And I can tell you that if you drive through the neighborhood south of San Marcos Square, which is very northern tip, you understand what I'm talking about, where the most important endorsements are from. And that's where mine are coming from. But that's how I'll publicize it. I'll let folks know who they are, and they can visually see it. And I think that y'all's is possibly among the most. I thought the chambers was important. I think the FOP and the firemen had done some major damage to themselves, so I thought the chambers pretty. But from a tax standpoint, I think that what I've been through and what I do for a living is probably most consistent with what your organization does. And I think I'm the most conservative candidate in the race, bar none, from the standpoint of knowing the tax system pretty thoroughly and knowing finance pretty thoroughly. That's what it's about. And I'll talk to as many folks as possible that I consider it among the most important. So, hope that helps.
Okay.